Peter Thiel is one of the most evil people currently alive.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
There was so much in our pre-recording that we could have recorded for a cold open so that people would know that we're actually friends and human beings who have interests and stuff.
Yeah, we're a lot of fun. We're really sexy. Our body counts are higher than average. I feel like if we
Hi, Mom.
yeah.
Welcome to Meaning What? I'm Mason Hershenow.
And I'm Sean Ang.
Sean, another season is behind us. This season wrap. Closing up. We're going to take a little break, and I'm going to move to Ohio. And if this comes as a surprise, because you're one of the 6 people that listen to this consistently, no, it shouldn't, because we pitched this whole thing as like a, academic calendar thing. Um, so there. Does it work when I start by insulting our core fan base?
Yes, because they are beguiled by your cranky charm and my faggoty exuberance. Is that the line we pitch?
I think you can see.
Beep.
So we're gonna take the month of July off because America doesn't need any celebration, and we'll be back in August. But with a whole new spat of episodes and films and
Cool.
garbage,
Yeah.
and it'll be fun. But today we're gonna take a look back at some of the things that we've talked about in the last year, and kind of do a check in, see where we're at. I am still recovering from a sinus infection, so
Sexy, fun.
this should be fun. Yeah,
Do you start at the top?
yeah. That's usually how episode outlines work.
The first thing we covered, criticism. Jeez, it's only gotten worse.
I was talking to one of my students about Anthony Fantano
Yes. The melon.
shortly before, before the school year ended, and I was happy to find that they also, you know, really dislike Anthony Fantano. So the kids are maybe going to be okay.
Yeah.
But
Who is his core audience? Is that like our age or slightly younger, basically?
I think it's people our age. I think his core audience are people who look like me, but who don't have their own
Taste.
opinions or
Yeah.
taste. Like guys who want to be experts and want bass playing to be cool, and who formed their opinions based on Pitchfork originally, back when Pitchfork was
Guilty.
mean, but then never found their own identity. Like I don't know, but I don't see his appeal being very broad.
Mm,
I've known some people who I enjoy as human beings who follow his,
right.
but I don't
I prefer Nardwuar anyways.
know.
Beep, boop, boop.
I prefer
There's nothing left.
nothing.
There is nothing left. Stereo Gum is somewhat fun to read sometimes. That's about it.
I read Stereogum. I still read Pitchfork once in a while. In fact, I read Pitchfork now as an adult more than I did as a teen. But
They just gave Addison Rae's album an 8, and it makes me laugh. An 8. 8.0.
no way.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Shit.
Why? Because she's pretty?
No, her... I don't know if she's calculated it correctly, right? Her internet career turned, I'm going to be an indie hyperpop girl. But that is what she has decided to do and committed to the bit pretty heavily.
Okay. I mean, good for her. That feels like a pretty obvious career trajectory. But
Well, very few of them do it with any success. It is better than Rebecca Black's music. I don't know, but that's a very low bar for me to assert into.
And so then maybe let's game this out. She starts here. She's doing like hyper pop right now.
Yeah.
So maybe she like has like a poppy career trajectory,
And
and she ends up doing like she gets a feature on a Guar track in like 10 years. Like that could be cool.
that would someone, not me, needs to pay Mason $1,000 if that happens. Thank you very much. I will say the only concerning thing about our music, a lot of the promo pictures, a lot of feet. Not cool with that.
Well, isn't Gen Z kind of into feet, or they were? Feet were in the zeitgeist for a minute.
Like in its irony poison to like, ha ha ha, free feet.
Ha ha ha, feet.
Isn't that a thing? Foot wiki? There's a wiki of feet.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
I think that's how you know you've made it as an internet celebrity, right? If your feet make it on that wiki.
that and Sydney Sweeney selling bars of her own bath water soap.
That joke feels not funny. It feels not funny if you're in on the joke too much. With a corporate sponsorship.
It's going to be even less funny next week when this episode comes out and everyone's forgotten that that was a thing. She's only
Whoops.
making like 5,000 of them or something. I saw this was not my joke, but somebody pitched that what she's actually doing is like building a list of people that she like
I could
will
never.
get restraining orders against. You know, like if you buy that bar of soap, you will never be in Sydney Sweeney's physical
Vicinity.
vicinity.
Yeah.
You know, yeah,
Apparently they went up when they sold out because they were only $8 an item, and it crashed the website, of course.
right.
Apparently on eBay, some of them were selling them for as much as $2,000.
What do you do with that bar of soap? Like, you can't have it out.
I mean, it's
You know,
oh,
like,
I mean, it's like the weird speculative Beanie Baby bullshit, right?
but I mean, like, you're buying that bar of like,
Yes.
forget scalpers and like
Yeah.
the opportunistic capitalists. Like, forget all of that. Like, the guy that buys that bar of soap,
Uh huh.
what do you do with it?
Jerk off to the thought of it.
I guess, but like, where do you keep it? Like, I guess you can't. But like, if you're still living at home, you still got to hide it from your mom, right? And if you live on your own, I guess if you're never having anybody come over, it doesn't matter. But like that's a thing that if somebody finds it in your apartment, you're having a lot of conversations with a lot of different people for a very long time. You know, like like
Johnny, we're breaking up. This is not okay.
right, mom. I'm
Mom,
sorry.
you should be more than sorry.
Don't kick me out. Oh.
Yes, you are, honey.
We're laughing about child abuse. But no, it's not child abuse because it's an adult in
They're
this
all
situation.
at least 30.
Right.
I can't, I am still, I know, like, most people are over it. I am still haunted by that SF Chronicle article about Mackenzie Funk Chung Fegan's run in with Thomas Keller and like that food criticism, that incident. And like, that
Yeah.
would have made
Yeah.
such a good capstone to our criticism series. Could this have happened last year? But I just like keep thinking about it because we have dissolved the independence of journalism and criticism. So then we're all supposed to implicitly, quote unquote, work together.
Right.
What is the fucking point? You are defeating the fucking point of criticism.
Do you think that it is a and this is I'm going to put my old man hat on
Uh
for a
huh.
minute. Like, do you think that this is the youths not enjoying criticism to begin with? Like, this is a you
Yes,
can't
because they
critique.
you cannot critique, you cannot challenge, you cannot help that, you cannot help shape their taste or their understanding through words that aren't positive. And
Hmm.
I like we've talked about incessantly. The algorithm tricks you into thinking that you're making all these decisions when it is all decisions made by machine learning and bot ads, basically.
Right.
So it's just the delivery method is no longer what we like. Also, the death of expertise, right? Like, I
Yeah.
think my biggest stump is that good food criticism is so fucking hard to come by because everyone is a food influencer or a food critic, and Do any of you know what the fuck you're talking about?
Right.
You don't.
It's the same thing that's happening to criticism everywhere that we've talked about. It's the same
Boo.
environment that gives us Anthony Fantano, right? Like, and gives us all of the YouTube channels about film and
Mhm.
gives us fucking what is that show? I enjoyed it for a while and then I grew up. Cinema Sins, you know,
Oh,
that
right. When
was
we were
like
like
really
12. Yeah.
yeah, it was really funny early on when I was like in my like early 20s and it was like but like
Well, actually, that wouldn't happen
right,
if this movie didn't happen. Shut the fuck up.
right. Which like was parody and I don't think it was ever supposed to be taken as anything other than parody, but then a bunch of the mouth breathers took it seriously and now here we are and that's how we like critique
And that's
you
how
know.
they watch Marvel movies.
Right. I think that it you know to put maybe a fine point on dying criticism. Like it goes out with all of the other things we lose when we lose nuance, right? And the current cultural pull is the uh, idea that nuance doesn't exist and there's no room for it, and you are either good or evil, and everything is in like the black and white binary. Um, and so this is just an obvious all criticism is just going in that direction. It is either the greatest thing that has ever been made
Or
or it
it's
is a
garbage.
sin and a war crime
There's
for
nothing in
it to
between.
exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can't just be okay.
And not even that. It's not based on merit, right? Your view is based on merit because you are part of this club, right? I like the Zack Snyder movies, and so therefore the James Gunn Superman will fail or whatever. And it's like, guys, it's fucking Superman. Like, of all of the comic book characters, you can't write a deep Superman because he is the most bullshit character that has ever existed. Um,
So everyone is just a K-pop fan these days, just with different interests.
is that how K-pop works?
Mama, they will carpet bomb you if you have the wrong opinion.
I think that's the first time you've ever called me mama.
You're welcome, I think.
Wow.
Two anecdotes. I feel like when I talk to younger adults, they don't get sarcasm, and it's like not very well layered. I think that's just like people don't expect it anymore, unless
Yeah.
it's drenchingly obvious. And like it's not even just the death of subtlety; it's the death of any symbolism or meaning. I mean, to be fair to Chapel Rowan, the moment she breathes wrong, people want to burn her at stake. She showed up on Drag Race, and her outfit was as a rubber sex doll, which is hilarious. Like, and that is exactly how you show up to Drag Race, right?
Incredible.
Like as a blow
I
up
love
sex
that.
doll. It's so good,
Yeah.
and everyone was like, "Why is she a misogynist?" And you're like,
What?
literally, and you're like, "Huh?"
God damn.
Like that. It's brilliance, is what the fuck that is. Shut up.
I'm glad. I feel like, and it's because I'm straight, but she is like completely fallen off of my radar.
Uh huh.
Like she had her whole big blow up,
Uh huh.
and then like the I don't want to do the famous stuff thing
Yes.
that was all totally justified, and I'm on board with. And then she like just disappeared for me. So I'm
Yes.
glad that she's still floating around out there. But
Yeah.
as somebody who communicates in about 75% sarcasm, it's a real issue for me. Like it's getting more difficult to do all of the things that I do because people take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Um, and people think that I'm a lot meaner than I actually am, you know, which has always been a problem, especially as I like grew older and became more self-confident. When people meet me, like sometimes they just think that I'm just mean, and it it's not. It's that I'm a deeply sarcastic person with just an overwhelming sense of cynicism and also I'm secretly, not so secretly, deeply introverted and
Don't want to
do
be
not
here.
enjoy
Yeah.
interacting with other people one on one, but I also need like constant attention and uh celebration of my genius. So there's
Podcast.
yeah, but it's getting harder and harder, especially as somebody who teaches, to like bridge that gap. I feel like I'm always teaching people who think that they know what sarcasm is how to interact in that space. And one of the things that I do, I show affection by like being mean. So it's like, you know, um, I'm teasing you
I care about you.
because I care about you, or just because I enjoy you as an individual. And that gets harder and harder to do, and less, popular.
Sigh.
We're post irony. Postmodernism really did a number on us,
Ugh.
and that's something that we should talk about next season. I think that there's a lot of really good conversations about postmodernism and like what it was, what it is, and what people believe that it is.
Hmm.
And there are lots of essays about it on the internet right now. So when we come back and talk about it in a couple months, like, you know,
Yeah.
we can ride that wake. But
Have we moved past that to like postmodernism, or like what have we moved to?
I think that there are. I mean, I know that there are people that make that argument that we are postmodernism. It depends on how you define postmodernism. If you're coming at it as like aesthetic first or
Mm,
culture first.
right.
I think of postmodernism as the aesthetic movement that it created, and it comes out of certain aspects of modern culture and modern life. But there are a lot of people that have taken that idea and ascribed it to a cultural movement, which I don't think is correct because that didn't really happen with modernism.
Right.
Um, it's in conversation. And so if you think about postmodernism as like a cultural thing and something that like affects values and affects like, that part of your worldview, then there's that argument. I think aesthetically, we are postmodernism, but a lot of contemporary aesthetics are still very postmodern, right? Like
Yes.
we are still doing fucking Andy Warhol fucking bullshit, but we're sort of trapped in this where we being like cultural influencers
Hmm.
are doing postmodern things that are deeply postmodern and pretending that they're not, or they are just
Yeah.
not informed that they are, or
Yeah.
they're saying that there's something else.
The only good stuff left are just references to other things that are like less than 20 years old.
Right. But like postmodernism trapped us in this like regurgitation cycle, and we
Hmm.
just keep like spitting up the same slop, which is what leads us directly to AI. Might I think there's an argument to be made there that like that is the ultimate when everything is meaningless and everything is a recreation of the other thing and everything exists to remove meaning from past aesthetics and past concepts, like eventually you end up producing slop because that's the only thing that you can end up doing, right?
If you're gonna do the irony slop, at least understand the original reference at least a little bit.
Right. Well, irony is a lot of work to do well, right? And you have to be that. I think that's one thing that gets lost, and that is one thing that like meme culture really fucked up was like meme culture and Gen Z humor is so deeply postmodern and
Yes.
like so distilled, right? That it got to the point where it was funny even if you didn't know the thing that it was referencing because
Right.
the reference wasn't what was funny, it was the endpoint itself,
Yes.
which then got self-referential and removed the like the context, right? And
Yes.
because culturally and aesthetically we are in like this post context sort of movement, the ideas around irony got all fucked up. And what makes irony work is having a deep knowledge. And a lot
Yes.
of times, the more that you know, right? I would say almost always, the more that you know, the better irony gets and the better like self reference gets because you are building further on top of that history. But in like popular culture and also in education, we've undermined that need to know and like continue to undervalue the importance of knowing things outside of your immediate purview, right? That but we've shrunk the puddle until there's nothing there. And so a lot of the best opportunities for humor now do get lost because that view of irony and that view of like referential humor and parody gets tripped up in this thought that like you can't you can't rely too much on background because then it becomes academic and academic is bad. It's like, well, no, like I'm just an informed consumer. And yeah, there's an academic way of talking about it, but that's how that always goes. Like you can appreciate traditional Japanese aesthetics and also read Tanazaki's In Praise of Shadows, and those two things can both exist.
But here we are.
Let's take a break and then do a little shift to the rest of the things that currently matter.
Yes.
And we're back. One thing that I did want to talk about, because it is, as we are recording this, it is Apple's WWDC right now.
Bullshit stuff extraordinaire.
And Apple is desperately trying to make up for, fucking up Siri and their Apple intelligence. Um, and I wanted to touch on that because we talked earlier this season about AI and the rise of that, and I feel like there have been some shifts that have happened in over the last 6 or 7 months. One of which being Apple so royally fucking up the rollout of their own large language model system. Right. And I feel like that is the first sign that the bubble is starting to finally, if not pop, start to deflate
Yeah.
and into a sad little rubber sack.
Mm. Finally.
Because Siri is still useless. It's fucking 2025, and I can't even get her to turn on my smart lights reliably.
And it recently got worse, right? I think
Hmm.
in the last year
Hmm.
or so, it's gotten actively worse. And you're like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
oh, wow. And like, this should have been a slam dunk for them because they already tricked us into using AI in our real lives broadly.
Yeah. And they're working with Chat GPT. It's not
Oh,
like
great. That's what I want to hear.
they're starting from zero. And I mean, a lot of like what the Apple intelligence features became were like Chat GPT powered stuff. Do you use any Apple intelligence in your daily life, Sean, as a fellow Mac user?
No, I'm better than that. I occasionally say, Siri, call David, and then it doesn't do it, right? I think I just heard Siri talk. Oh my god.
Did you activate her?
Maybe. The running joke is that Anthony and I will talk to each other and it'll listen to each other's respective voices, but not the voice that you were hired to listen to.
That really getting rid of requiring it to say hey or requiring you to say hey at first was really really fucked that up.
Okay, the joke is it called David from my iPad, not the phone sitting next to me.
Right. Not the thing designed for phone calls.
The thing that is sitting like 20 feet away that hasn't been updated in a long while, so thereby proving that the
Right.
the older stuff is better.
Hey, this is fun. I just got a text from the Lucy Dacus line because, I bought tickets,
Yeah.
and so announcing her new jewelry collection.
What?
Yeah. Bracelets and such, a daffodil, some scissors, a frame.
A scissor.
Yeah.
Collab with Susan Alexandra. What the fuck is this? Oh God, what in the Claire's ass jewelry that is the I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lucy, but this is
It's pretty rough, right? Um,
it's Claire stuff to me. And I love
yeah.
cutesy things.
It reminds me of like Limited 2.
It literally is. It's made in by hand, NYC creating a myriad of sustainable jobs. The first ad image is of women from SNL. Collabs with Vans, Post Cereal, Sweet Green, Warby Parker, Disney. The jokes it writes
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. Um,
Are they hiring?
yeah. There's a job for you. Well, thanks, Lucy Dacus, for the little sidestep. We focused a whole episode on her, but
Whoops.
I think the thing that you and I talk about more than anything else is music in general, and YouTube's desperate attempts to get me to listen to Pale Waves,
Or
um,
anything, right?
or really anything. Yeah,
Oh, or TikTok. I get because I spend time on TikTok. Just like whatever, music that gets fed to me is wow. I mean, it's funny because everyone, like we talked about offline, everything is so like based on the classification or the genre that you're supposed to be in, which is, you know,
right,
like really serious stuff or like really trying so hard to categorize as XYZ this niche movement of da scoop a beep boop, which
right.
like first of all, genre doesn't really exist in a meaningful way anymore, and it feels disingenuous because like real niche music genres like are work operate on a really local cross pollination level, and also it's all aesthetics, and then the music sucks. What was that one band you were talking about where like they they did the thing and the music sucked?
Oh, that was Pale Waves, where it's like fronted by this like goth girl, and then you listen to the music, and it is just saccharine pop. It is the exact opposite of the presentation.
Right, and it's just sad. This is where we are with music.
Yeah, Purity Ring recently put out a track, and that got me thinking about the subgenre of witch house,
Right.
which doesn't exist and is
Right. Oh, I was thinking about Witch House too. Oh my God, we're just the same.
and so I looked it up because it was one of those things where I was like, oh yeah, that's sort of a thing, and I really like the new Purity Ring tracks. I'm a big Purity Ring fan, though. I have been since their first couple tracks got leaked on YouTube, and that's one of those bands that's like outside of my obvious purview that I like love. But like the term witch house was coined by music journalists and and like that realm
Hmm.
as a joke.
Right. Basically, you shouldn't be calling yourself Witch House.
Right. But then it got picked up by Pitchfork, and
I remember
blogs
this. I remember this.
started using the term, and then Flavor Wire said that despite Travis Edged's, who
Edge
came
these
up with the
nuts.
term,
I'm sorry. 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 I'm so sorry. I don't know what
I'm
came.
sure you're the first person to ever make that joke.
Oh, I don't know what came over me.
D- Despite his insistence that the genre doesn't exist, Flavor Wire says, "Well, it does now, for better or worse." But it doesn't mean anything. Like
Yeah.
it is just
Nonsense.
it's part of like shoegaze and goth rock and ambient noise and drone and
It doesn't
like
differentiate itself enough. Okay, sometimes you put on a witch hat, big whoop.
Right.
when I was thinking of meaningless music genres, the saddest thing that immediately came to mind is on Twitter. There is a uh, creator, use in air quotes, named Whitezican. The jokes write themselves, but he decided to release music, and he called his intro song like Haitian. I had to look it up because I was like, it was so absurd. Haitian futurism Y2K reggaeton.
The fact that like Y2K is now an aesthetic
Yeah,
is so silly.
and they all get it wrong too.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They're all lacking the fear that was very real around Y2K. Like I remember my parents being afraid of like the economy just coming to an
Yeah,
end because
literally.
we really didn't know what most computer systems were going to do. And also like they miss out on the genuine cultural terror of 9/11 and how much that shifted everything and created the police state that we currently live in. So, they're really missing the things that made the early 2000s really what they were.
Yeah, so a white pig bottom making bad reggaeton music, it just does not capture that cultural zeitgeist or fear.
Although a white guy making reggaeton music is perhaps the most early 2000s thing you could ever do.
Hey, excuse me, he's a Whitezican, so obviously he has Mexican heritage. I don't know, cannot don't confirm that fact. So he's a little bit better. Remember, it used to be just people who had no hair. Like we were talking about Gwen Stefani. She
Mhm.
ain't at all Japanese. She is not at all a chola. She, as we researched, she is the widest, most Catholic upbringing you could possibly be, but in SoCal,
From Fullerton,
but from
California.
SoCal. So that's what you get.
Yeah.
And she became a
And you could do that.
yes.
You could do that in the 90s and the early 2000s. And
We kind of celebrate you. Well, if your music was engaging, we'd celebrate you a little bit,
right.
just a little bit.
That was the same era, though, that we were singing along to Semi Charmed Kind of Life on the radio with our parents, and no one picked up that it was about doing crystal meth.
Oh, why do we do? Is that us when we're seeing the do's? Is that us doing the math? Do.
No, I don't think it's quite that deep, but a great song. That whole album is fucking fantastic. And Third Eye Blind, that guy is apparently pretty okay, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, that just makes me
got
think.
good politics.
Right, like the Sarah McLachlan song about being in the arms of the angel that we play with the dead dogs at the shelter.
Yeah,
Isn't that also about someone ODing in a hotel room, literally?
I think so.
Yeah. So this is where we at with 90s Y2K 2000s music.
Yeah. But all these kids don't know that. They just saw a picture of a transparent N64 at some point and were like, "Rrr,"
I think they all still get it wrong and they're all just referencing Mean Girls.
which is not even.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? That's
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
they're
definitely.
referencing 2000, was that 2005?
I believe so. Yeah. Don't ask me why I know when Mean Girls came out. I don't know, but
Do you
2005.
yeah. Do you care
I've
about
never.
Mean Girls at all?
No, I've never even seen it all the way through.
What?
Much to the chagrin of so many women in my life who don't seem to understand that they are the target audience and I am not.
I didn't watch it until college. And I don't know. I'm not missing that much. I like the three jokes you can get from it, and that's about it.
Right. Well, you know, again, it's very, it was like good for the time. It's kind of like a Judd Apatow movie, you know,
Yeah.
none of which have aged very well, but
Which is exactly why they then made a musical of it. And then when they made the movie remake, they made the movie remake of the musical because that always translates really well.
yeah. Ooh,
Speaking of which, bad movies. I feel like we've watched a mixture of like movies that are good for what they are and a couple like just bad movies. Ironically, some I'm not ironically.
yeah.
What can we get out of this?
That I'm picking all of the movies
Shut
for
up.
season 4.
No, no, you're not. You're gonna have to watch some gay shit as I say so. I mean, hey, we willingly watched Crash out of like the misery of watching Crash.
Sure. Um,
And I don't think I've laughed ever so hard.
Well, the lesson there was that we should be watching these films together, but um,
Sandra Bullock falling down the stairs
in
is
slow
that
motion.
is still
What a
the
beautiful thing.
funniest thing. The racism is absolved.
I fell down the stairs and now I don't hate my Latina
Housekeeper.
housekeeper.
She's not gonna steal anything from me. We have love. I hope that housekeeper after that, when she was knocked out, stole some of the good china and a couple $1,000s.
She didn't because she's actually a good person. And
Wow.
that is the true tragedy of that film.
All the people
That
call
and the
yeah.
Brendan Fraser was like unironically the best part of it. Like
Yeah.
just as far as like acting chops.
Unsurprising, I suppose.
Yeah, and that was before his career sort of stalled.
And then came back
And then came back. Yeah.
in that way. I roll sigh. Ugh. Mm.
I don't know. Doom Patrol was good. He was good in Doom Patrol. Uh I have a good movie picked out for August that is also a surprising gay story. So there. I win.
What movie are we watching?
Dog Day Afternoon. Don't look it up. Don't learn anything about it.
Aye, Captain.
But a great young Al Pacino performance.
Oh, I'm in.
Um, yeah, based on a true story, and yeah, and it's a queer story too. Good stuff. Yeah, we really ran the gamut this year, and I think the first film was that we watched was Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Right? Is
Yes.
that the first movie we watched this season
Yes.
when we decided to start doing films?
Well, no, it was Chinatown.
Oh, that's right. Which was also great. And, and then it was just sort of downhill. Although the Best Picture winners this year
Unevenly.
ran the full gamut as well, I
Yeah,
guess.
like the unevenly, like approximately one of the most painful things to ever watch. To okay, that was pretty good. But isn't that how the Oscars work every year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Penis to vagina or vagina to penis. Yes, 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 yes.
Dune was pretty good.
And I'm still here. You know, and
Yeah.
Nora was fine in the end.
Nora was a Sean Baker film. Um,
Which
you know?
is funny that like yeah, I still don't understand the magic of like the weird campaigning that happens and the powers that be are like, yeah, he's the one we'll reward now.
Yeah, I don't know how any of that works. It's not actual we're not actually choosing the best film of the year, and we never have been. But
But what's the marketing
you know,
angle here, I guess?
yeah.
Feels like a once in a lifetime award of like, cool, nice stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you got one, and we can pat ourselves on the back for giving it to an indie auteur, and then
We found a new lead ingenue and we're moving on. Thank you.
and in a couple of years, Sean Baker will direct a Marvel movie.
You I want to say that's a joke, but that literally happened to Chloe Zhao.
I was not making a joke because I was thinking about Chloe Zhao.
Man,
I was serious.
and I watched a few clips of that movie she made. What the fuck?
It's almost like not every director needs to,
Make a
and not every actor needs to do
Marvel movie.
that, and like maybe we should build an industry that can support actual like art house film in a meaningful way and elevate it, and also like non-American voices, um, and non-white voices,
But but
beyond just pandering.
how can
But
you say no to Marvel when they're going to pump you full of steroids and give you $4 million?
well, yeah, and that's why it works, and that's why people keep working with Disney, even though it is one of the most evil companies in the world, and part of why, or really the main reason why, uh, copyright law is so fucked in this country. But
I may
here we are.
pretend to hate it, but if you wanted to pay me that much money and make me look that hot, I will do it.
I won't, and that's the difference between the two of us, and that's why I will never be truly successful.
Then we can do an podcast expose about it. I don't know.
That's a good that's a good way to ruin that career and lose all of your money and also ruin my life. So sure, why not?
Let's do it. The world's gonna end in 40 years anyways.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Good times.
We're not that miserable always.
I don't
Sometimes.
know. I spend a good amount of time being pretty miserable.
Oh yeah, the other point we had on the list. Um, Happy Pride to me. Happy Pride to the ally on the podcast.
Right.
Happy Pride.
Yeah, you can celebrate me. That's fine.
Ugh, I guess. Happy Pride to our listeners, which I assume are at least 50% gay or pretend to be gay. Um,
Given the people that you and I know and associate with, most of them are.
Gay! Or,
I talk to, you know, so few of my friends are straight.
oh, good. That's a good sign. That's a good sign about you, Mason, you know?
I guess I have a long history of dating bi women. So
You're the straight boyfriend for the bi woman that they feel so insecure about because they're not gay enough.
I know it's been an actual problem in my life.
Oh my. Um, you are an above average straight ally to bi women. I will say that, having experienced many of them.
There's I It means so much to be called above average.
You are in many ways, I think.
Yeah, including my SAT scores
Ugh, yeah, I
in
guess.
everything but math.
Why no math?
I don't know. It's never. I struggle with math when it doesn't have a direct application. I can't do theoretical math, and that is what the SATs are. As soon as I have a reason to apply math,
Yeah.
I can do math, and I don't think about it in the math way. I think about it in the like I am solving this problem way. I'm very good with like abstract thought and abstract problem solving,
Yes.
but and I did pretty well in geometry, but algebra, like I don't need to find x, right? Like I will find x when it is a real world object, and I am trying, but like I can't do it. My English scores though,
Yeah, we get it.
that's where it's at.
You're smart.
I'm smart and a talented writer and underappreciated in my time.
You will be one of our great fathers of thought.
After I die, I
Yeah.
will be celebrated.
You're gonna write some like weird leftist manifesto or book that no one buys until someone discovers it 40 years after the fact.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. I will be managing the state for it.
And maybe at some point I will actually write the novel that I've been threatening to write for
Oh,
20 years.
oh, you do have, well, you can't help but be a white man. Um, Anyways, the point is pride. Wow, we like not like I've ever actually given a fuck about corporate sponsors, but damn, there are no rainbow profile pictures. Wow, we have been dropped like a bag of hot potatoes. Not that it's surprising, it's just so funny how fast it happened.
Yeah, it's no longer good business,
My
you
favorite
know.
thing is the, like statements when they walk back the gay stuff, or like literally they
Yeah.
like put out a rainbow flag that they have to walk back. It's like to be inclusive of everyone.
But you can't say inclusive anymore because that comes too close to DEI.
To
So,
respect all viewpoints.
yeah. Can't have Raytheon thinking that I can't have everybody thinking Raytheon is woke.
Yeah, we don't let the like ballistics experts be trans anymore.
Can you imagine? Fundamentally disqualifying, really.
Because, just the genders, they can't do it right.
Right. And Oppenheimer was such a feminist, you know. That's a joke.
People don't get jokes.
Oppenheimer was not a good person.
Did anyone think he was?
I don't know. Some people get all excited about him. He did some okay stuff later on, but that Christopher Nolan movie really confused that because Nolan knows how to make a movie and
Ma-
make a
Make it epic.
complicated
Yeah.
protagonist. Imagine that.
Yeah, he's kind of good at that, huh?
Yeah. I mean, he's no Denis Villeneuve, but
Mason, if you could have any artistic job in the world with no care for money or the crumbling state of society, what would it be?
I don't know. That's a good question. If I could dedicate myself to filmmaking, I would enjoy that. I don't know that I would do super well, but I think I would. But I haven't ever made that leap. That might be a later in life thing. I don't know. Um, I would enjoy directing, I think. I would enjoy editing maybe more or being a director of cinematography. I think like I think I would really enjoy that job. Um, but then I would want control over everything. So I think I would enjoy being an India tour sort of jack of all trades director. I would also really like the dream would be to be a street photographer in the way that like Eggleston and Frank and Arbus and all those people were, or doing like installation art pieces back when you could do that at MoMA because you were friends with the chair, like that would be the dream. Just being a street photographer before that was a popular thing, before that was a lifestyle. Um, but here we are.
Woo!
I don't have the discipline to be an author. At some point, I will write both the fiction and nonfiction that I've been threatening to write for years, but
And we will smile, nod, and we will love it. You will all love it, all 7 of you listening to this.
all of you will buy my books. Publishing is not dead. It can't be. I have so little left.
Something like that.
What about you, Sean? What would you do? Money, no object.
I would disappear for 5 years to take a bunch of dance classes, and I'd be a choreographer. Mostly for the ice, but also beyond. Yeah,
Okay.
I dream about it.
I used to dream about having a band be successful, but I think I've left that behind.
I'd be happy to be in it as the tambourine lady who sings the background vocals on the vocals sometimes.
I would like to have you in it as the tambourine lady and have that always like the Wikipedia have the question of whether or not that's problematic.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. I'd like you to be my problematic tambourine lady.
Woo!
We'll put you in a kimono. We'll like go all out
Yeah,
on like the Asian thing.
I'm
And
going to be
yeah.
Yoko fucking Ono for your group, but it's built into the group,
Yeah.
honey. And do I do the Yoko Ono style of "Ah!"
Yeah. We won't mic you, but you'll just yodel in the background anyway.
And then I will steal the mic and sing the ballad.
Right. It's like the joke of not telling the bass player that he's not plugged in.
Right.
We don't actually need you, but
I am,
we would feel bad
yeah,
not letting you be there.
and I am there. And because our culture is so irony poisoned, I would become the most famous band member.
Right, because you would be the most memeable.
Yes, and I would be the first to get a magazine spread in Paper Magazine. Thank you very much.
And I would die bitter about it.
I got styled by insert stylist here. Thank you very much.
But it's my craft. I wrote all of the songs.
Yes, but I'm the one who's famous. Just like what was
I went.
well,
I did the Bon Iver, Justin Vernon, bad breakup, lock myself in a cabin
yeah, but I
that
was
my parents own.
but I was the funny and fabulous one. So this is where we're at.
Right, I'm the torture genius, and no one's looking at me.
Insert jokes there.
Well, since they're cutting a hole in the ceiling of my apartment, I think we will leave our audience inserting their own jokes there.
Yes.
But it's been a wonderful season. We will return in August for season 4 of this podcast. Things will be different, but mostly the same.
Hopefully better.
Hopefully better. And until then, stop buying Metallica albums. That's what pirating is for.
If you ain't got no money, take your broke ass home. Anyways. I don't know. That was my first instinct.
It's no Sam Studios.
Well, actually,
Did I stutter?